For me, it's kind of sad to say that, but it's hard to put some arguments to say that coffee it's a good investment, even with the prices that we have now, uh, because we know that price will not last forever, or we don't know how long it lasts. And farmers, like I also said, the coffee farmers take a lot of risks when they start to growing coffee, and the price just give a reason for them to take more than risks. But still not in my opinion, it's still not a business for someone that not have experience in growing coffee. For like an entrepreneur to start the business, even with the price that we're facing now, because the level of investment is really, really high.
Friends, we have an announcement. On October 28, 29 and 30, Maple Forward is proud to present the first of its kind live online event titled Introduction to Regenerative Coffee Farming. This workshop will happen live in 3 different events in English, Spanish, and Portuguese to help coffee producers and the rest of us in the coffee industry understand regenerative ag and how to implement it so that coffee farmers stand a chance at surviving these brutal weather conditions long into the future. It will also help us understand how we can talk about regenerative ag to our customers. This live online presentation will be led by highly specialized and experienced agronomists, coffee producers, and agricultural engineers who have worked transforming coffee farms from conventional farms to regenerative farms and agroforestry around the world. Tickets are $10 for coffee producers and $150 for everybody else. When you pay $150 though, you're securing your ticket and the ticket of 14 other coffee producers that didn't quite have the funds to pay for their own tickets. Not only does your ticket buy you access to the workshop, but it also gives you access to newly formed WhatsApp groups, one in English, one in Spanish, one in Portuguese, where people can continue to exchange information and ideas about regenerative ag before and after the workshops. For more details, head to mapleforward.coffee/workshops. Check the link in the show notes for details and help us spread the word about this workshop by sharing our posts on social media. Welcome to the Daily Coffee Pro by Maple Forward, friends. I'm your host, Lee Safar, and this is episode 4 of a fantastic 5-part series with Jonas Ferraresso, agronomist from Brazil. This has been quite the year for Brazil, and in this series, we're talking about the economics of the different ways of growing coffee in Brazil. A lot of people are saying it's amazing, the C market is up, it's around 270, it really does live between 250 and 270 these days, and everyone's saying that this is amazing, right? Not so amazing, because if coffee producers had the coffee to be able to take benefit of the price going up, but the point is there's a reason the price is so high, and a lot of it is driven because of Brazil. So in this episode, we're going to talk about the return on investment and does it make sense for producers to produce coffee anymore? Does it, Jonas?
For me, it's kind of sad to say that, but it's hard to put some arguments to say that coffee it's a good investment, even with the prices that we have now, because we know that price will not last forever, or we don't know how long it lasts. And farmers, like I also said, the coffee farmers take a lot of risks when they start to growing coffee, and the price just give a reason for them to take more than risks. But still not in my opinion, it's still not a business for someone that not have experience in growing coffee. For like an entrepreneur to start the business, even with the price that we're facing now, because the level of investment is really, really high. Like I said, like it's about today to start a new crop, and we are talking about not the investments of machinery, drying, structure, storage, and stuff like that. But it's about $6,000 per hectare to start a conventional growing in Brazil.
Okay.
And take about $5,000 a year for maintenance of this field. And you will wait about 3 or 4 years to start to harvest this first season. And that not means you're gonna have the return of investment that you put on the beginning. It's just we're gonna start to have some money to use instead of just spending money.
If it rains. If it rains.
Yeah, and everything that is all the climate is fine in 3 or 4 years in a row that we don't know, and why, and we talk about a little bit about that, and why we not choose for a more safe system like organic, because you're gonna spend more money on that. The investment of the first years of investment, the installation is about the same, but the maintenance, it costs about 1 or 2K more in dollars extra
per hectare
because of the hand labor. Yeah, because of the hand labor usage.
Okay. And what about the inputs?
The inputs, it's about the same.
Okay.
It's depending of the year, because some years like when the war started in Ukraine, the fertilizer price and inputs were so much high for the conventional way, and the organics were cheaper because they are made here
in Brazil
with manure and things like that. But now it's almost the same in terms of inputs. But hand labor, we need more hand labor. So more people, and in Brazil, we have a lot of laws of protection, which is good for people that farmers need to spend more money. It's not just about the salary, but there's another expanding to people's safety in order to, if they got harmed, or if they can work because they are sick, or if they got fired, they have some kind of support for government, but the farmer pay for all of that. So if a worker costs about let me say $800 a month, the farmer needs to put another $800 in order to the worker rights, to protect them about something, because I know in some countries,
like social security.
It's about paying by hour of working, but in Brazil it's more complicated to do work using that method, because we have different laws of stability in terms of labor, to give more
security
for the labor. That's why hand labor is expensive in Brazil for farmers, and usually farmers pay a good price, a good part of that, and government pay another part in order to have protection. If the farmer wants to use certification to have some kind of label, rainforest, organic, regenerative, any kind, it's about 1 or 2K a year more that they need to put on the price. And if we're talking about the agroforest system, we are talking about 1 or 2K for hectare to maintain, and could cost 12K to implement, because we need coffee trees, we need trees that now in Brazil is very expensive to buy a tree, no matter the kind of tree you are looking for to implement.
You mean a fully grown tree?
No, it's like a small one.
A seedling?
A coffee seedling, it costs about 30 cents or 20 cents of dollars per tree. A tree like for agroforest system, and now it's costing about 10, 15 or 20 times more than a coffee tree. It's related that more people are interested in growing
supply and
agroforest
demand
system.
They're taking
There's
advantage.
not many nurseries prepared for this level of people that are interested to buy. So in the end, and if we're talking about irrigation, we are talking about put more 8 or 9K per hectare of investment. So if you put all the levels of protection in your area, so I had to be very well protected in order to have coffee in 4 years. The farmer will spend a lot of money, maybe 15, 20K per hectare of investment, which is so much money in order to harvest coffee in 3 or 4 years and maybe have the return of all this investment maybe in 8, 9 or 10 years, because we don't know.
Even coffee, we're used to this maybe word, right?
Yeah. Because even if I do everything in order to have some harvest, avoiding all the climate and all the external problem, we still need to rely on price
on the sea market
during this in the futures, which is really hard to rely on that. So why, with everything that I said, why farmers are still interested in grow coffee if they could grow like short-term crops like maize or corn or cotton or everything? And so it don't make sense for me for a new entrepreneur to do that. When I talk about like experience or farmers that are in the market for 10, 20, 40 years, we have. It's different because they already have some crops that they are harvesting. They already did the investment of machinery drying along the years, in the 20 years. But for them, it's much cheaper because they already have profit from the areas that they already invest a lot of money. So they just are planting more or renewing the old ones so they could find a better balance and have some money, or if the prices are good and if they have coffee to sell. But they already did the investment, So like farmers that are in the market is not about just, okay, it's not profitable, I'm going to leave the coffee chain. It's not about that because they already have investments along the years. So they still persist, is the right word, in the business because they already put the money on that, which will be different for a newcomer, which you need to put all the money that to start the growing.
What scares me at the moment is that I've been speaking to a couple of producers really in alignment with what you're saying. And they're saying, Lee, the problem is that now you've got people who are tired of roasting coffee that are saying, I want to go and grow coffee. And they are trying to, because producers are walking off their land in places like Colombia and Guatemala, and they're migrating to the southern border of the US. So what they're saying is, I can go and buy cheap land in Colombia. How hard can it be to grow coffee? I've got enough money. I can invest it in that. I'm going to go and buy some seeds. And so I have friends on that I know through Instagram that are saying to me, what is going on with all of these coffee roasters that are coming to me and saying, you need to sell me some seeds because I'm going to grow coffee. Look how high the sea market is. And on top of that, you've got people who are already at origin that haven't grown coffee before, that have found out that coffee is doing really well in pricing. So they're deciding to grow coffee and try their hand because the sea market is so high. Folks, just a tip. We've seen this many times. This is the cycle that always happens. The sea market goes up, everybody grows coffee, then there's an oversupply of coffee, I guess, if it rains.
Yeah, still like in Brazil now, we know how the perspectives of growing coffee are doing because of the how farmers or people are looking for seedlings or nurseries in the season.
And there are a lot?
There's a lot of people interested in seedlings, which means that, in my opinion, farmers, like traditional people that are in the market for a long time, are starting to renew the old areas. Like I said, we could grow coffee for 20 years, with 20 years age, years old. But we use old technology to do that because it was planted 20 years ago. So farmers, when see the seed market are doing great, they see an opportunity because they're not going to leave the market as soon as they need to stay on the market. So, okay, now the prices are good. Maybe I start instead of renewing 10% of my area, we renew 20% of my area. Because I could pay for more for seedlings, and I already have the hand labor prepared, have the structure. I just will change old area for a new area, the new crop, new plants with coffee leaf resistant, the old area. So nurseries are with a lack of coffee trees to buy it, because I saw a lot of farmers that are renewing the area in order to have more yields for the next seasons. It's how the things works in Brazil.
Everywhere.
It's time to the farmer to do investments in the farmer. That not means it's time for newcomers to start to growing coffee, because it's so much more complicated than just buy seeds and invest money. Because I don't know, but probably in Colombia is like that. We still need hand labor to do the job. It's not 100% machinery. Even in mechanized areas in Brazil, we need hand labor to do the job. For some parts, it's not hand labor for zero hand labor during the implementation, or we just use less, but farmers know that, so they're renewing to have more yields in the future if the climate helps. But even if they stay with the old varieties, the climate will be a problem. So it's better to use that money to invest and have better yields for the future. If the farmer are planting now, we are talking about having coffee in 3 or 4 years, like I said to you. It's not something that will help farmers in a short term, but the traditional farmers, the farmers knew it. The investment need to be done now in order to have some chance to get profit in the future.
But it's still not guaranteed.
No. It's more levels of technology. For instance, irrigation. If you like 4 years ago, I do not see a lot of people and companies are in the market to sell irrigation projects, and now I see a lot of companies that are coming to the market. I see farmers more interested in irrigation. So farmers will find a way, if they can, to survive. They need to do investment for that. Like irrigation is very expensive, but they are seeing maybe I should not take the risk for 1 more year. It's expensive, but maybe it's the only way that I could survive in the market for the next 3, 10, 20 years, if I have some kind of irrigation in my area. So even small farmers, medium farmers, which do not have a lot of money to invest, but they are taking the risk to put more money in the area, because they see, if I do not do the investment irrigation, next season I will harvest off season again for 4 years or 5 years in a row. So I need to do some investment on that. And they take advantage of the price that is now to make that decision.
And for anyone who's thinking about whether you should come to the regenerative ag workshop that we're doing in October, which is an introduction to regenerative ag, the point of that workshop is to introduce everybody to the principles of regenerative ag with a very clear way of showing you, using videos, the practices that are involved in that, so that you can make some decisions about whether you pivot some of your practices. Like, for example, with biochar, Angela Barrero has found huge success with the biochar that she used because she went through 2 years worth of drought so far, and it's still ongoing. Her problem was she didn't have enough biochar because the drought is going on for so long, but it did get her through longer than she thought it would have. Well, then she knows it would have if she didn't have the biochar. How does she know that? Because all the farms around her are devastated and they don't have biochar. So I guess at the moment, having something like irrigation is going to be a quick fix for getting you through to other long-term solutions, correct?
Yeah, it could be in a long term if I have sustainability to this water generation. For instance, I could use irrigation, but I still protect my forest areas around in order to capture this water during the rainy season. So could be a sustainable practice if I have some complement with that, So I need to store water in order to use irrigation. It's not about having a big lake to put water in, but how this water came to my farm and maybe how my neighbor do good practice. Because when I talk about sustainability in a global way, it's not about what I do, but what we do. Like water do not grow in my land if I have 2 hectares of land. Just maybe the water start to be stored with the rainforest all around. Is like that. It's not an easy way because we need to educate people for that. But the solution, it's about integrated farmers and techniques and like regenerative. One thing that I like about regenerative agriculture, it's about, let me say, a collection of techniques that we use in order to have sustainability. And this collection of techniques could be different for each situation or each farmer that use it. This still could be regenerative because it's more related to practice, and I like the way that is, than related to a number of rules or laws that say this is regenerative. I think I understand that we need something that says that we are certified in some level because it's how market is, even if I like or not. But I like the way the regenerative are growing. Like people understand that it's techniques that I need to use in order to put this level of protection in my soil, in my environmental, and how the only thing that misses a little bit, but in all techniques, not regeneratives, is how integrates community in that. It's very important because I could not be island of regenerative organic agroforest because I will be not successful in long term with that. For many reasons. It's not just agroecological reasons, but commercial reasons. For instance, if I grow a very sustainable coffee in an area that will be degraded for my neighbors for a long term, and these neighbors are just leaving the land so I will be an island of regenerative agriculture, organic, or agroforestry in a devastated land, which for me don't make sense for that. For commercial, like, okay, I have a farm in no matter area, and the roasters say, okay, but this area is a very devastated area, and there is not traditional in growing stuff there. How can I trust you, and how this could be interested for my customer to buy a coffee in an area that it's have a stereotype of degradation or things like that, you know? It's need to be a community action to have some level of successful. The beginning, it's about, I need to do that. But the second step is about how I convince my neighbors or my community that these techniques, it's good for everyone, is not just for me.
Bodega de la Finca, Angela Barrero's farm. The one way that she approached that was that with the intercropping that they're doing, they allow, or they've invited all of their pickers to eat all the food, the yucca, the plantain, all of it is for their staff, their pickers, to take as much as they want, to feed their families and do whatever they want. They're also welcome to take those extra crops and sell them at the market. What that has resulted in is that they are an employer of choice in their local community. And so what that does is that when businesses see that Angela is doing this, they now want to do the same thing so that people want to come and work for them. So hopefully this is what's going to drive this kind of a movement, right? If your potential staff know that they're no longer going to have to spend money on food and that they feel that they're taken care of because the culture of the business is community, hopefully that spreads and other businesses want to be encouraged to do the same thing as a part of this kind of philosophy of regeneration that isn't just about regenerating the land, but it's about, like you were saying, regenerating communities, which I think would be a really beautiful thing if it could be done en masse, which we've done it again. It sets us up fantastically for the final episode of this series, which is what needs to change in the future for us to find our way out of this. We've done very well, Jonas. Join us in the final episode of this series, folks. Peace, love, and peanut butter. Have an amazing rest of your day. I really hope you enjoyed this episode, friends. Please don't forget to show us some love by subscribing, liking, commenting, and most of all, sharing this podcast with your friends. Check the show notes for links, including our sponsors and our Patreon, and stay tuned for more great conversations on the Daily Coffee Pro by Mapper Forward.